Hello everyone, welcome to ET Studios, and today we're having a look at how to troubleshoot some issues with a PC if it's not starting up or having some boot looping issues. Now this issue has happened to me a lot recently, and I really thought that it might be worth making a video on because it's quite a simple fix and a lot of people don't know about it, and especially if you're one of the people who may not know as much about PCs, this is definitely going to help you quite a lot. So this is the example of what's happening to this PC when it starts up. So I'm going to turn on the power supply at the back, and I'm going to start it up, and it's going to seem relatively normal. Make all its hard drive noises, or whatever yours does, and all the fans are going to spin up, and then it's going to shut down. And it might start up again. It'll keep looping like this, starting up, shutting down, and you're not going to know what's going on, and it's not going to be posting on the screen. So sometimes this may just start up and immediately shut down, not come back on at all. It might just stay on, but not go off. And if that's the case, there's a couple things you can do. It might also be beeping. Now, beeping is quite cool because that's a postcode error, and that allows you to have a quick Google if you can have a look at your motherboard inside, check the model, and just Google postcode errors with your motherboard, and it should tell you what the beep code is, and that'll tell you what to do. And if the beep code happens to be related to RAM, which is what I'm going to be talking about today, then this is what you're going to do. So you're going to turn off the PC with the switch at the back of your power supply, and you're going to unplug it. That's a relatively important step. And you'll also want to just power up the PC one more time. So once you've unplugged your power supply, I'm sorry I'm not showing it, but my camera angles are fairly limited today, you're going to just press the power button again. And sometimes you'll see your fans might spin up suddenly, or a light will flash or something, and what you're doing there is just getting rid of any residual power in the system, because that is a thing that can happen. It's less common these days, but if you have a slightly older system like this one, it's definitely something you should probably do just to be safe. Now, it's not a particularly orthodox procedure, but a good thing to do is to pop out both of your RAM sticks. So these are the sticks right next to your CPU, which is underneath that fan there, and there's usually going to be two tabs on either side of the RAM, and those are these two sticks here. Sometimes there'll be four sticks, there might be four slots and only two sticks, there might be only one stick, and whatever the case may be, all you're going to want to do as a very simple step is unplug both of them to start with. Now, one thing you can do is immediately start up the system with neither of them inside, and it won't do anything to the computer. It definitely won't start up. If it does, then something's definitely wrong. But if you start up your PC in this state, it's just going to tell it, hey, I have no RAM. It'll probably beep a similar code or no code at all, and if it's not beeping, then you probably just don't have a speaker in it, or it doesn't have that kind of functionality. But if you start it up now, it'll definitely not do anything. But once you have started it up, if you're going to do that, then you're going to do exactly the same process, turn it off, unplug the power supply, and start it up again. So I'm actually going to do this now and show you what it's going to do. So in this PC's case, it's a little bit different from what I've experienced with a couple of PCs recently. So I'm going to plug it in, I'm going to turn on the power supply, and I'm going to start it up. It immediately shuts down and refuses to start up. And that's fairly normal. So it's a much quicker boot loop now, because it's instantly detecting there's no RAM at all and shutting down. So I'm going to turn off the power supply again, unplug the power thing, the power cable, and do the power supply, do the PC plugging in. Now, if you have two or more sticks of RAM, I highly recommend plugging them in one at a time, because there is a small chance that your RAM might be dead. And in this PC's case, one of them is, and I've confirmed that in a different motherboard. And it's very unlikely that your RAM is dead because it's not exactly a component that dies very often, but I appear to be particularly unlucky today. So, in my case, one of these two sticks over here, let's give you a focus. Come on, camera. There you go. So one of these two sticks of RAM is dead. Now, it is important to note that RAM doesn't always look like this. Sometimes it's quite a bit taller, and sometimes it's covered by some other kind of metal material or something like that to make it look cool. I'll give you some examples of that as well in the background right now. And in that case, it's exactly the same process. Sometimes, like I said, you might have clips on the bottom and not the top, but usually they'll only be 2 clips, and you just have to unclip them on both sides and remove the RAM. Anyway, that's a little bit late for you guys now because I've already unplugged the RAM, and I've just realized that my camera isn't pointing in the right place. But I'm going to move the camera now so you can at least see me doing the RAM installation, because that is probably slightly more difficult than removing it. So yeah, sorry about that, but as you can see, there we go, you can see a bit more of the actual slots for the RAM now. And what we're going to do is reinstall one of these sticks of RAM. Now I've lost track of which one of these is actually the working one, but we're going to just plug in one. And if you have a motherboard with 4 slots, I highly recommend plugging in your stick on the second slot from the left. That's usually the first one you're going to start with. And there we go. So you either put it into the slot and push it down evenly on both sides. You'll probably hear a click. With low profile RAM like this, sometimes you don't. But just make sure that the tabs on both ends are in. You do have to push quite firmly to get it seated in there, but just make sure it's lined up, because there is, I'll show you on this stick. On this stick here, you can see that there's a little bit of a notch in the RAM, and that notch is actually offset, so you're going to have to make sure that the slot on your motherboard lines up with the notch on the RAM. And it definitely won't fit if it's not aligned properly. So, we've got one of these plugged in, and it's about a 50-50 shot of, in my case, of whether it's going to start up. But presumably, in your case with a PC, it would now start up. Now, if it doesn't, this is the point where you might want to call a tech support person or go to your local PC shop if you have one, because then it's probably a bit more of a complicated issue that you can't fix without any other additional hardware at your house. And in that case, you've got a little bit more of a problem, and that is highly unfortunate, but hopefully it doesn't cost you too much to fix, if anything at all. But in this case, I'm going to have a look and see if it's posting. It is. So I chose correctly, and my PC has booted. I will show you that now. Way up there, you can see the screen for the PC. I have a little bit of an awkward camera position because this is actually my server, which is sitting down away from my main monitor. But there we go, it's posted. And now I'm going to plug in the other stick and show you how to do that. In your case, you would plug in the other stick if you have one, or if you have 4, I would recommend, once you've plugged in one, plug in the rest. If that doesn't work, go through it one at a time and find the stick that's giving you a problem. It could also be the slot. If this is an older PC, it might be worth giving it a quick clean out to try and get rid of all the dust. And you can do that with just some compressed air, but don't do it too close to any components, because you might end up blowing off some surface mounted components, so I wouldn't recommend doing it too close to the PC. But yes, a quick dust and clean of your PC wouldn't be a bad thing either if it's a bit of an older one. Right, so we're back in our PC now. We're just going to shut it down, and I'll show you the second one going in. Obviously, in my case, unfortunately, it won't work, but you will need to plug in your other RAM to make sure it's all working. Another step, once you've done this all, is to go into Windows and open Task Manager. There's a shortcut for that, and that's Control-Shift-Escape. And then you go to the Performance tab and check how much RAM is being detected by your PC. once you've started up your PC, it'll probably detect, it'll say there's been a change in configuration, press F1 to continue to set up, or F2 to, I don't know, do something else. And that's just saying that it's detected a change, and that's because you took out all the RAM at the start, because it was like, oh no, I've run out of RAM, and then you put in the RAM and you've given it a bit of a kick and said, hey, something's changed, and it had to force it to fix it. And a lot of the time, the RAM wasn't even unplugged. It was just the PC freaking out a bit, and that's happened, I think, with 3 different PCs for me recently, and it's been somewhat frustrating because, well, it's been good and bad at the same time, because the PCs obviously worked and all the RAM was fine, except for this one, obviously. But yes, I've fixed a couple of friends' PCs recently, and they've all had the same kind of issue. But here we go. So make sure the tabs on both sides are open, and you're just going to line up the notch on your RAM. Even pressure on both sides, and there's a click. Now, then you just click in the other side if it hasn't gone in. Make sure both of those are in, and then you're going to plug in your PC again, turn it on, and start it up. And there we have it. Obviously, like I said in my case, this is going to shut down again, which is highly unfortunate, but hopefully in your case everything works. If you have any questions, anything that isn't working with your PC, please let us know in the comments below. There it goes. And we will try and help you out, but otherwise I highly recommend going to a PC shop or something like that, calling tech support, if you have an issue that this doesn't fix, because then it might be a CPU problem, a GPU problem. Those are a bit more difficult to test without some more experience or other parts on hand. But this is a nice simple way of checking a possible problem with your PC, and it won't cost you any money to do. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helped you fix a problem. If it didn't, like I said, leave us a comment and we'll try and help you out below. And there's a Discord server below if you'd like to join that as well. You could even ask some of the many people in the server who seem to know quite a bit about PCs, and we'll try and help you out. Otherwise, I say good luck with your future problems if you do have any, and I hope that you continue to enjoy your PCs and you don't have any further problems. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.